Hello and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses. You've not waited long to see us again. We are back as always, and it is Monday night, which means it is the live call-in show. And Neil, mate, sat there with your blue tinted glasses. How are you doing, my friend?
Wonderful. We have sacked the goblin. He's gone. A new day is upon us. Look at the views. Look how many people are getting involved. People are so excited. It's kind of sad in a way now. We're so excited that someone lost their job, but it is. But also, just a sneaky one from me. It'd be interesting to see what our callers and chat think today. But I thought that they might already have appointed someone by the time that we did this show. That was actually my prediction, and I thought it would be David Moyes. And I'll just say that personally, I wouldn't be against David Moyes. I think he's a very good manager, but the fact that he hasn't already been appointed actually makes me personally a bit more excited. Who knows? Maybe he still will end up with the job. But look, I think we can all agree that with Steve Cooper in charge, it was hard to be positive about anything. So do you know what the number one thing I'll say is if you look at every single caller that we're going to have on today, the first thing to look at is look at their smile. That's what I'm going to say. And I love seeing it. All you guys are my friends. We're all friends. We're a community together. So seeing everyone excited, buzzing, happy, get your blue tinted glasses on. Let's go. How about you,
I can confirm. I can confirm we finally did hear from Luke that Leicester City down under last night, and he actually told me that I am to blame for his relationship nearly falling apart because he had about 12 missed calls off me at 12 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m. So his girlfriend was not happy whatsoever. Or his fiance, I think they're getting married. So, but no, Luke is a very happy boy, as you can all imagine. Right, let's get into it, Anil. For anybody new around here, and I'm sure there will be a few new faces around here today, because I can see the numbers are already going up. This is the live call-in show, and this week it is all, of course, about the manager situation. Now, you can talk a little bit about Steve Cooper sacking if you want to, no problems at all, but I think mine and Anil's main focus here is who comes next. So, without further ado, and to let everyone know, we are going to have to speed people up today because there are already like 7 or 8 people waiting. So, without further ado, we are going to start off with the chaos, and that is Mr. Rossy. How you doing, Rossy?
Say his name and he appears.
What's going on, mate?
No, good. Obviously, yesterday the news broke, which, I think credit to Top. He's learnt from Brendan. We got rid of him now and not till April 1st. So that's a good thing. Now we've got to focus on who we need to get, pretty much. And obviously there's all these names, Harry Potters, your Corberans, your, Moise, and Ruvan Nistelrooys and, Beryl from down the chip here. It could be anybody. So, yeah.
Well, then, go on, Ross. I mean, because normally when you call in, you've got splinters in your arse and you sit on the fence. I remember you sitting on the fence with Cooper, in or out.
And then, I agree. And obviously, it was when I said about the Chelsea game. And I even said if Cooper's still the manager by Brentford, we're going to get battered by him.
So off the fence, what name? Who are you backing?
I said this, and Neil said it. It's not going to happen, but my name, Jose Mourinho. That is mine. It's not. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Let me tell you why very quickly, because I know you got everybody waiting. Imagine the king of shithouse here is Jamie Vardy. The king of managerial shithouse here is Jose Mourinho. Them two worlds collide. Oh my God, it will cause a lot of chaos. Obviously, but that's my dream. But in reality, we've got a reality check. I like to see Corberan. That's mine. That's reality.
Well, Anil, I'm in agreement with Ross with regards to. I know you're not too keen, Anil, but I would love it. I would love nothing more.
Oh, it would be absolute cinema. I'll give you that. It would be unforgettable. So you know what? At first, I thought, no, these lot are crazy. There's no way that Mourinho will come. So I had a look at what his contract is at Fenerbahce. But actually, do you know what? It's not that crazy. It is a lot. He's on 10.5 million euros per season. But if you equate that into pounds, that's probably about 9-10 million. You do say that, but Brendan Rodgers was on a lot. He was on a lot. So I think for that reason, if I'm being honest, I don't see it coming because I think you'd have to break that clause, right? You'd probably have to pay 10 million to get him out of his contract, and then you'd have to give him 10. but I don't think it's that insane a take. I mean, it would be cinema. I've said to you, I think he's yesterday's man. But I mean, look, if you top 5 managers of all time, he's got to be up there, isn't he? So I can understand
Anil,
why you'd want him.
You are right. He is yesterday's man, Anil. But would he keep Leicester up? I think he would, right? I think
of course he would. Of course he would.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, you think about that. Imagine Nottingham Forest. Let's say he came in against Forest in May. Like, let's say they go on a horrendous run and they're in the relegation zone. 93rd minute, Vardy late winner. Him and Mourinho running down that to the away.
you're in fantasy land, Ross. Right, mate. Ross. Yeah. Again, I'm sorry I can't keep you on longer, but okay. So many people. Cheers, Ross, mate. Thank you so much. Look, Michael, you're slating Corberan. None of us have said Corberan yet. Let's wait and see if somebody does call in and say Corberan. Maybe you want to call in, Michael. Remember, everybody, anyone can call in. There is the link. It's in the chat. It's also pinned here. Click that link and come and have your say. Who do you want in charge of Leicester City Football Club? Right, up next, it is Costa. Costa, mate. Nice to see you again. Oh,
so I'll be quick because I heard your message. My letter to Top worked. Yeah. Listens to me. My dream management, lol. You've seen who that was. Never going to happen. Mancini with Caballero as assistant. What do you reckon, Anil? You're suggesting Moyes. I think Moyes is more of a short-term manager. I've heard whispers of Lee Carsley. Now, what do you think of that? Now, I wouldn't have gone for that, but these whispers are coming from within the club, and a bit odd. I really, really hope that they have got someone ready. They haven't just fired him, we won't mention, on a whim, and then said, right, who we're going to get in. That would be stupid. I also feel there's a lot of pressure on the club now to get it right, because they will look absolutely stupid if they don't, after sacking someone which the rest of the football world think is early days, because they don't watch us like we do. You know, he hasn't had time to get into jail, blah, blah, blah. It's bullshit. He weren't no good. We know he weren't no good. We watched him week in, week out. So that's that, and forget about him. Personally, I'd love to see Graham Potter. Why? Because I think he'll keep us up, and I also think he'll take us further. That's my opinion.
Okay, Costa, I've just muted you a sec because we're getting a bit of feedback. So while we talk, I'll mute you, and then when it's your time, I'll unmute you again. Anil, I agree with most of the things that that Costa has said there. I have also heard the Lee Carsley links. It'll be interesting to see if somebody does call into that and actually back Carsley like Gary Lineker did. For me, mate, oh my God, what a terrible appointment that would be. It would be backwards from Cooper. I don't know what you think, Anil.
It's hard to say. It'd be such a gamble. It'd be a huge gamble. For me, he's got to go to the Championship first and do a full season there to prove himself, to have any chance of having the Premier League job. It's crazy to give him the job right away. Costa did mention Roberto Mancini. I'd be well up for Roberto Mancini. He won the Premier League, remember, with Man City. Then he's won the Euros of Italy. And when he did it with Italy, they played a really nice style of football. It wasn't the classic Italian style. They're pretty attacking. They look like a Premier League team. It's weird that he's out of a job because he walked away from Saudi. So 59 years old. He's not the youngest, but I mean, look, he even played for us a few times, didn't he? So I'd be all on board the Mancini train if that was to happen. Otherwise, I'll leave it to you, Locks, for the rest of his comments.
Well, I'm going to come back to you, Costa, because in the last couple hours, TalkSport and Owen from Radio Leicester have basically said and confirmed that Potter is not he's not one of the options, and whether that's because they know he's not interested or what. So on that, Costa, that Potter doesn't want it or he isn't under consideration, who is your number one man?
Am I back on? Corberan.
Tell us why.
Because again, same. It's a bit risky. Really keep us up. Because egg on face if he doesn't. But there's a future. You know, he might end up being a gem. It's possible. I like the way he plays. It was quite similar to Maresca, but I think a bit more attacking. Yeah, him. Definitely. But it's a shame. I think this is the end of the road of the story with Graham Potter. If he said no, well, see you, mate. You're lost. We are the Blues. We will march on. I'm going to let you go because I hate being under pressure.
No worries, mate. Obviously, there is a bit of feedback, so I've just muted you again, mate. Sorry. But yeah, make sure to join next week as well, Costa, because then we might be able to talk about the new manager, mate, whoever it may be. Cheers, Costa, as always, mate. He's always clicking in.
2 out of 2 for
London.
Corberan. Just saying. I didn't anticipate that to be the start of the show.
That is true. That is true. Absolutely. Right. Up next, I see Finn, I see Josh, I see JJ. But before you guys, unfortunately for you, not unfortunately for me, I'm really looking forward to speaking to these two. We've got back-to-back Dallas Foxes. Back-to-back Dallas Foxes. Which one do we go with first? I'm going to give it, because I spoke to Craig more recently, so I'm going to go with Charles first. So, Charles, for context, he said, no, I don't want Potter. He said, no, I don't want Corberan. Who does Charles want now?
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Well, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. The job's half done, so let's not fuck it up. Carlos Corberan. All the way. Yeah.
Oh, you do want Corberan?
Yeah. I wanted Will still, but he's not even in the ranking. So, I don't want Potter. I think we just... Job's half done. Go and get him. Say, we want you. Wow. Need permission to go. Go and talk to him. Tell him everything. There's no points deduction now. We're good. We have a good team. We can stay up. Come, we'll pay the buyout and go for it. I don't think there's anybody else. I don't want Moyes. I don't want Van Nistelrooy. I really don't. He's probably in the running.
What is it about Corberan that you like so much? I'm not against him. I think he's a great coach, but I'm just curious. 3 out of 3 have gone for him now. So what is it?
It's just been, when originally he was in the link, and I thought, well, he's got a project there. And he did well last year. And you both said he's on a string budget, hardly any money. And what he's doing there is exceptional for what I think. He's had a few draws recently. I think like 6 of the last 7 are draws. So that's put him down a bit. I think they're like 7th. So they're in the frame. He may want to complete the project, but he may not. He may get the playoffs. I don't know. There's some big guns down there, Sunderland and Burnley and things. So he may want a shot at the Premier League now, and just go in, pay what he wants, and say, look, January's coming. We have some money. I don't think we have a lot, but we have some money. You can go for it. Go for it.
Well, just a quick one as well, just an address to chat. Michael, again, he's not saying... Michael, I'm genuinely curious. Who is it that you want, Michael, mate? Let us know. Another person says here, he said, let me find it. I can't quite find it now. Somebody said that Potter can't handle... Corberan is a lightweight. He can't handle the pressure. I mean, what would you say, Charles, to the people that do make the point, and I think it's a valid point to a certain extent, that Corberan has less on his CV than Steve Cooper did?
That's if you want. I mean, Corberan's always been up there, fighting for promotion and whatever. So that's his track record. Steve Cooper had the relegation. He did in the championship. But I honestly think the way Corberan acts and, with no money. I mean, Steve Cooper had money to spend at Forest. He's got nothing. And he's like doing wonders. Again, it is a gamble, but the whole job is a gamble. But this is a huge decision, because if we get this wrong, and we start interviewing, and I think what has happened, we need to go for Corberan. Say, look, we're not speaking to anybody else. We want you. Flattering. We want you. Because I think if we start interviewing people, I think it's going to get a bit confusing. The board are going to go, well, who should we go for? And we'll end up with somebody like Moyes or somebody. Because, if they put it out there, they want to interview people, they're going to get bombarded. And you're going to get, they break it down to 5 and it's going to drag on. I think we need somebody really quickly. And if we go to West Brom and say, look, can we have permission to talk to him? We agree the buyout, whatever it is, talk to him, persuade him, get the job done, get him in, get the transfer window going, and I think we'll be good. I think we just need 17th, right? So that's who I back now. I mean, I was Will still, because I think he is very good eloquently and things like that. And what he does, he has no money, but he's not even in the frame, apparently. So my new one is, West Brom manager.
Well, Charles, the last thing I'd say here just quickly is talking about Corberan. I mean, Cooper beat him in the playoff final as well. I forgot about that. That would be quite poetic if the man to replace him is the guy that lost to him in the final.
Yeah, but again,
I'm not
Manny.
against it, by the way. If Corberan was announced tomorrow, I would be quite happy with that for sure. Sure. This is what I said in our group chat earlier, Charles, because Luke was moaning. Luke always moans, even though he wanted Cooper out like all of us. He's moaning about Moyes, and I'm like, mate, we can't say for the last 3 months anyone but Cooper, and then when anybody but Cooper comes in, moan again. Just, you know what I mean? We're happy that he's gone. So, Charles, there's loads of people waiting, mate. I do appreciate. Go on.
2 seconds.
Finally, go on.
I wouldn't say no to Mancini, but I don't think he'll come because he did play for us, and everything. But I think it'd be too much. And I don't think it'd be a fit, but I take him. I don't want anybody else. That's it.
Is he not tied up in the whole 115 charges case as well?
Yeah, as well.
No, he might.
How much was he on in Saudi Arabia? He'll probably want a fortune.
Yeah, 20 million a year. 20 million a year.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Absolutely. Right. Cheers, Charles. We're going over to
Thank you,
Carrick,
mate.
so stay around and have a listen. Cheers, mate. Right.
Just before we go to the next person. So whoever who's coming on, we want you to make your argument, your case for your manager, your man, back him. Give it to us like short and sharp, like you're being on a TV debate, because that's what we want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. There is the link. This is how you join. I saw Jack, the final whistle, in the chat. Mate, get in. Sean, you're always in the chat. Click in. There's loads of people who are always in the chat. Thomas Wilkes, new member of the channel. Get in, Thomas, and give us your say. Right, up next is Dallas Foxes, number 2. And it is Craig. Craig, you better be there, mate. Your head's... Oh, he's frozen, I think.
No, he's there.
I'm not frozen.
Oh, he's back. He's back. Right. Craig, mate, you've just heard your good friend Charles pitch for Carlos Corberan. Who is your pitch for?
Well, for the first time, Charles and I agree on something. We don't want Potter. How about that?
Okay.
So
I thought you were going to say Corberan again. And then,
no. I'm not going to say Corberan. I mean, I have 2 thoughts on this. One, an older manager with a lot of experience that can kick some butt, or a younger manager that can relate to the players and bring some new energy. So I just heard Potter and Moyes are out, which is fine. So I'm going to bring up a name that no one else has brought, although someone in the chat did, and that's Michael Carrick. I'm interested in seeing. What I'm thinking is we got a group of guys who just aren't relating to their manager well. And I think if we get someone in who's a little younger, a little more relatable, and has some energy, not someone who's tried and trusted true in the Premier League, that maybe they will get behind it a little bit and get some excitement. And I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with Michael Carrick from a manager standpoint. I think there's nothing wrong from a player standpoint. So I think the guys will relate to him better and maybe get something out of him.
Anil, what do you make to the Michael Carrick shout, mate?
That's a really saucy one, isn't it? He's flying down the odds. He started on like the day of 33-1. I think he's down to 10 or something at the moment, which is interesting. A lot of people are saying at the moment that Middlesbrough are playing the best football in the Championship at the moment. Just won 6-2 at the weekend. It's funny because the season before we came down, they did amazing. They got to the playoff semi-finals, but then in our season, they were awful. But to be fair, a lot of their team left and they didn't really replace them. For me, I think he's got a lot of potential, but I still think he needs to achieve a bit more. Like if I had to rank him between him and Corberan, I would say Corberan's got to playoffs multiple times with different teams with a lower budget. But Carrick's exciting. I think, is he better than Cooper? Surely no one can be worse than Cooper.
Yeah,
but I would say it's a gamble. But you know what I'll just say? Because I used to play that sort of position in midfield myself, albeit at a terrible pub level. But what a great midfielder he was, Michael Carrick. And those sort of midfielders like Pep, like Xabi, a lot of them end up being top managers, Xabi Alonso like that. So something to be said there. He was a great player and decent manager so far. And yeah, let's see what he could do.
Yeah,
Craig, you've got a little bit of a Michael Carrick look to you, mate.
Beat us twice last year, Middlesbrough as well, by the way, Michael Carrick.
They did beat us twice. They did.
They
did beat us twice last season.
Well, Michael Carrick must be a good-looking guy if we look alike, so I'm good with that.
He's all right. He's not bad. He's not bad.
I don't know. I don't like the comment from Tom talking about every time we rule someone out, Southgate goes up the list. Let's just make sure.
That's frightening.
Let's stop. Let's just stop that whole talk right there. So,
I want to say no. I think I mean, he's made some questionable decisions in his time and the board, but surely Southgate they wouldn't go that far.
I can't see it. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Craig, for ending the run of Corberans. Much appreciated. There were a lot of Corberan. So Michael Carrick, first one on the
Cheers.
board for Carrick, mate. Thank
So
you
we
so
got
much, Greg.
3 Corberans, 1 Carrick out of the first 4. What are the odds on that?
Very
20 to
very
1.
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Cheers, Craig,
ya.
mate. Thanks to both Dallas Foxes there, Craig and Charles. Much appreciated. Go and check out Dallas Foxes. They do some good stuff. Right. Up next, again, I'm just going in the order that they clicked in. Up next is Finn. Hello, Finn, mate. How you doing?
Hi guys, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Very good, mate. Very good. Obviously, you've just caught the start of the show. We want to know what manager you're backing to come in and save Leicester City.
I'm going to restart the train of Carlos Corberan and back him.
Wow.
Firstly,
Picture
for
it to
me-
Why is
firstly,
Carlos
I think-
Corberan the man? King Carlos.
I think he is our best option. It is a huge risk, and the next manager that we get in, the board have to get right, because otherwise, we might look like idiots sacking Cooper this early. I doubt we will, but no, I personally think Corberan, he's a manager that can come in with a plan, a structure, and just rebuild us up. Season starts now, and go with him personally.
Would you? I mean, obviously, I don't know if you're aware, but he did a nil. He was under under Marcelo Bielsa. He is a bit of a Bielsa protege, if you like. Anil, what do you think? Again, we keep asking you, and what do you think to Corberan? I'm here for it. I know you've got better options, or you've got people above him on the list, Anil, but you'd be happy with it, wouldn't you?
In the summer, he was my number 1 target that I thought we should get. The reason I like him is I think he's shown that he can work with a budget. I think he knows how to play attacking football. He doesn't do it so much with either West Brom or Huddersfield, because I think he's had one arm tied behind his back. You've got no attacking players. But to be honest with you, that's why I think he gets a lot of flack that he doesn't deserve. It's like he's someone that has a certain style that he would like to play, but he'll look at his team and he goes, my team can't play that style, e.g. having James Justin trying to play like friggin' Dani Alves halfway up the pitch. I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to do something that works with my team. So at the moment as well, you could say I was really boring. He's got 6 draws in 8. But that means that he's got a good defensive structure. And right now we're conceding over 2 goals a game. So he's someone that will be able to come in and meet. Do you know, he's only 41 years old as well. So he's a young guy. And he's got that kind of suave, good looking, might turn up in a Lamborghini outside like Enzo Maresca and get the lads in that way. So I think there's an awful lot to like about him. Look, what I would say is for sure he'd be a gamble. But I think a lot of the people we're talking about are a gamble. How many people can you really honestly, hand on heart, say wouldn't be a gamble? I hate to say it, it's probably David Moyes, and I don't want him. So I can definitely see why you'd go for him. So yeah, I get the impression. People who are out against Corberan, let us know why. Most people are saying it's because he hasn't done anything. But I would say getting to the playoff finals twice with 2 different teams, or 1 final, 1 semi-final on limited budgets, very impressive.
Personally,
Finn,
for me,
go on, mate. Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
I think his football is a very similar style, especially we saw last season to what Enzo played. And I think we've still got the same core group of players that we went up with last season. And I think their issue was this year is we got a manager in Steve Cooper, whose ideas were completely different to Enzo's. And for them, it was a hard turnover in those 2 or 3 months to get back in the Premier League and play a new identity of football. Whereas with Corberan, it's the similar sort of possession-based football, really good defensive structure. And I think it would just, for now, it will suit us down to a T. And then in January, he can go out and get whoever he wants to fit his system. So I think now is a perfect time for us to go and get him.
All the best managers in the world right now are Spanish as well. Xabi Alonso,
Yeah.
Spain won the European Championships. All right, maybe Guardiola's having a bit of a fall off, but Luis Enrique at PSG, a lot of good Spanish managers right now.
Arteta. I was going to say as well, Xavi. His name's not been thrown in the mix, is he? He's not unemployed as it stands, but there we go. Finn, mate, thanks for clicking in, pal. Much appreciated.
Perfect,
really do appreciate it, mate. Thank you to Finn. Top guy. Right, up next is Sports, the best match day vlogs in the world. Come on, Josh. Who you got, mate? Who do you want? Who do you want? Who do you want?
I was going to go Corberan, but I'll mix it up. We'll go Van Nistelrooy because he's
No,
don't
sell out. If you're Corberan, go Corberan.
I'll go Corberan again then. I just echo what everyone said. I would take Van Nistelrooy as well, by the way, but I think, people say he's not done stuff at West Brom. Just like Anil said, he's been there with very limited budget, limited squad. He's got them very close to the Premier League. Obviously, this season's been a bit mixed, which is why I think potentially we can get him. It's going to be hard to get him to try and buy him out of West Brom, obviously. Maybe West Brom can have Cooper in return. But I think in terms of his structure, his style, if he could focus on the defensive side of things, which is what we need this season. Obviously, we've spoken about it numerous times. We are poor at the back, so we need to get that done first and foremost. But I think going forward, he's got new exciting ideas. He's someone the players will respect. Like you said, he's worked with Bielsa. It's just what you want. It's something a bit different. It works on the Maresca style. I wanted him personally in the summer, so that's instead of Cooper. I just think he's got all the attributes to become a top manager. And in terms of him as well, he's been at West Brom it seems like he's been there for a good few years. So maybe he's wanted to move on. And I think he is a manager who can potentially build a project at Leicester, because it's that fine balance. Do Leicester want a manager to obviously try and keep us up for this season for like a 6-month period, or do we want to try and get someone who's a bit more of a long-term project? It's difficult, but I think Corberan can do both.
Not to call him out, and this isn't even like I'm just sharing his thing. The Michael who was against Corberan does want Warnock or Big Sam. I mean, that's a crazy take, but yeah, Brexit ball, yeah, absolutely. Josh, we've heard obviously rumors and stories and stuff like that the players didn't get on board with Cooper because there was no clear direction and tactical plan or the identity. I mean, Corberan would bring that at least, wouldn't he?
Yeah, 100%. And he'll come in, he'll get his style across first and foremost. And I think, especially with most of the team playing under someone like Maresca, that's probably going to be what they want. Because when Cooper turned up, yes, he had a certain style a touch, but I think the players were like, yes, this is the style. They know what they're doing. Because I think at times this season, a lot of the players were quite confused with the way to play, the transitions, the different type of passing, etc., the general movement and whatnot. So I think Corberan will be the perfect man to come in. And I just think he's got all the abilities to really go to that next level, because I think, he's done well in the Championship, but I honestly think he can step up to that Premier League level. People say he hasn't done much, but he has got quite a bit of experience for quite a young age. Just like we said, worked under Bielsa, which is only going to benefit him.
Legend, mate, legend. Anything else, Anil, from you, mate, on that one?
Well, just a few people have already said it, but when we played West Brom twice last season, we beat them twice, but they should have beaten us. They were the better team. We all said it. That one, do you remember Hamza Chowdhury doing these godlike clearances off the line multiple times to get us that clutch win? And the other one, they were going for the winner, and then we ran down the other end, and Harry Winks got the winner. So, yeah, I mean, look, he's a top manager. There's no doubt about it, and I think he'd be a very exciting appointment.
100%.
5 for Carlos Corberan this early. I mean, wow.
I'm surprised because we've done the polls, Anil.
Yeah. It's
and
always been
Corberan wasn't near it.
Yeah.
He wasn't anywhere near it. Well, yeah,
I think his Josh has got a betting bracket and he's getting everyone to pile in on it, and he's making a load of money to send.
I was going to say, I think obviously no one has come in with Potter and Moyes, because it's looking now that they're out of it. I imagine, Anil, that more people would have probably said Potter. I mean, would you have said Potter, Josh, if he was still in?
Yeah, 100%. I think BBC have said, haven't they, now Potter and Moyes pretty much done. So yeah.
There we go. Right, Josh, mate, thanks so much for clicking in. Josh has just done a live stream on the manager choices, so once you're done watching this later, go check that out. Cheers, Josh, mate. Much appreciated.
Subscribe to support our best vlogs, best Leicester City vlogs.
Absolutely. Fox's Den as well, Josh, Wednesday night, mate. All right. Got to get that in there. Right. Up next is... Now, this is going to be difficult for Ragzy to keep it short, but I'm sure he can do it. Ragzy, mate. Who do you want in charge, mate?
Evening, boys. Right. I think it's like, don't get me wrong. Like with Corberan, I think it would be a great appointment. I'd be very happy with it. But I think, like, with all due respect to the guys coming on, and I know they got their opinions, but they're a bunch of sheep, if I'm being honest. Like, there's just just have your own mind of it. A few hours ago, they're saying like Potter and stuff, and just because of the news and stuff, like they're just being a bit flaky. So it's just...
then he's not an option anymore. So they're changing. They have to now go out of the
but I think it's like okay, then go and do your research and stuff. But I get it. It's still a great appointment. It's like, just have a mind of your own. Be a goat, man. That's it. But anyway, I've said to you on the previous streams as well, my number one choice would be Rude, and I think people sort of have this perception, and I think they're only really basing it off 3 United games, which I just think is unfair to do, especially when 2 of them were against us and it was under Cooper. So in terms of what he did in Holland, and the whole, like, he was brought through, he was the coach in youth academies, he was involved in the setup at PSV. He then got promoted into the first team. He also had like education in terms of the technical directors and how to understand like what was going on behind the scenes, how he could instruct scouts and like people in recruitment and stuff. And then he had that season at PSV where in the end they finished second and won the Dutch Cup, I think. People do know that he did get sacked, but that was a day before the last game of the season. Now, the reasons for it are his disputes with the board in terms of their sort of direction and like the lack of communication, and he wasn't happy with certain things. Bearing in mind, they lost 2 of their key players in Cody Gakpo and Noni Madueke in that January window. That's like us last season if we lost Keenan Dewsbury Hall and Mads Hermansen. Like, of course you're going to be pissed. Like, of course it's... And in the end, he was vindicated because they changed their whole board setup. They brought through technical people, and they, unlike spending like 10 million like the season before, they spent 50, and now they're dominant in the in the Dutch league because Ajax have fallen off, and they're the ones taking hold, and he's built those foundations there. I just think for the remit as well, of course, when we're talking about any option, any one of them's a gamble and stuff. You're sort of banking on potential. But when I look at demeanor, when I look at charisma and passion and having an idea set in place, he would be the most seamless transition from Enzo Ball to then bring it into the league.
Well, Ragzy, rightly so. Somebody has called you out because every time you come on this bloody show, you call someone out. Your arch nemesis, Imran's actually in the back room. Yeah, and unfortunately there's not 4 camera slots here, otherwise I'd get you on for a scrap. But someone has said you just call people sheep, but you've picked the bookie's favorite, Ragzy. You're the sheep.
Okay, all right, go on previous streams on this channel, and I've said from day dot, Rude is my number 1. Go on my Twitter, go on any social media, go and call it back. All right, so
I'm pulling your leg, mate. Don't worry.
Honestly.
But the question is, Ragzy, the question is though, if Potter and Moyes were still in the running, would you still have Rude over Potter?
I'd say like Rude out of all 4 of them. When it comes to, it would be in this order: Rude 1. Yeah. Keep barring away into you can go bar off with Cooper.
All right.
But yeah, Rude 1, Cooper. Fucking hell. Corberan 2. God's sake, I need to Cooper. Potter 3, Moyes 4.
Okay.
But all 4 I'd be happy with. Absolutely.
Lovely stuff.
Random shout out before I go.
Yeah.
If like money wasn't an issue, if status wasn't an issue, if anything wasn't an issue, Anil said it before on this channel as like a dream appointment, Marcelino at Girona, he'd be unreal. Absolutely unreal.
Just before Ragzy goes, I just want to say this because yesterday when you said Van Nistelrooy, I thought Ragzy's such a hipster. He's just saying this to sound cool. But to be fair, and Locks will back me up on this, I was doing my research on him today, and the more I researched him, the more I thought, do you know what? Free Ragzy. Get that picture up. Free Ragzy.
I'll find it.
He knows what he's talking about.
Come on, man.
He builds in a 3-2 shape. He sometimes moves the inverted fullback in, or he uses him as a winger. He develops the young players. There's a lot to be said there. So I'm coming around. And I think also, to be fair to him with Rude, I think if Rude Van Nistelrooy came in, the players are going to pay attention. Just today, there was a high performance podcast with Graham Potter on it. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but he comes across as very weak. A bit like the school PE teacher. Like you think that the kids would muck around with him, but you're not mucking around. Van Nistelrooy with that elegant turtleneck, you're paying attention.
We heard that at Chelsea as well. Apparently, he did struggle with the dressing room. Right, Ragzy, mate, there's still loads waited, so I'm going to let you go.
Yeah.
A bit of news, by the way. Is it Marca, the news in Spain? They've just reported that Leicester have spoken to West Brom, and they've asked about Carlos
It's all
Corberan.
going off now, isn't it?
2.5 million release clause. I don't know whether that's euros or pounds, whatever.
Yeah.
But that is what Marca in Spain are reporting, that Leicester have asked about Carlos Corberan, and they're willing to pay the 2.5
So many people in here will just chip in a fiver. They'll be able to pay off that in no time at all.
Yeah, absolutely right. We've got we've got Imran in next. Imran, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you, mate. Thanks for joining. I know I sent you the link a bit earlier on. Imran, you've heard all the chat. This show is all about who you want to come in. Who is it? Who's the
So,
man?
as you know, I did say David Moyes. I'm still sticking with Moyes just to keep us up. But then I was thinking, right, you got to think outside the box. And we're going to have this discussion, like you promised, about our squad, right? But let's take the worst case scenario, right? We get a manager in, whoever it is, Moisey, Potter, Corberan, whoever it is, and we go down, right? Which manager is best suited to bring us back up? And now, after thinking about it, Corberan for me as well. So I'm going to have to go with Ragzy. Or, you know what, Ragzy, who was it? Who said Corberan? It was Ross, wasn't it? Ross, I think it was. I see him at a few away games now and again. But yeah, Corberan, if you look for the plan A, plan B, as in plan B going down, Corberan's got that experience in the championship and it'll be a good step up for him. So that's what I'm thinking now. But look, I don't want to think plan B. I think obviously plan A is stay in the league. So yeah, let's keep to that plan. So if it is plan A, I'm still saying Moisey just to keep us up. But I can see why the board are talking to Corberan as well, because he has got that championship experience.
Imran, I've just got to address that comment there. Put it back up in Hill from Anne, because obviously we said about if we all chip in a £5 for Corberan, Leicester would take £3 of it as an online transaction fee. Very good stuff there, Ant, mate. I'll ask you this, Imran, because I asked the same to Josh. Obviously, we've heard rumours that the players weren't, and the fans didn't know what direction, or there was no identity with Cooper. So again, you think Corberan will bring that? Yeah,
100%. He'll bring. I think any manager, like even with Moyes, you're gonna have a strong defense. He's gonna play boring football. He'll put a double-decker bus in front of the goal. We know that. And with Corberan, we know how he's going to play as well, right? He's probably going to be more, Enzo ball than Cooper was. Cooper was never close to that anyway, was he? So you'll definitely get an identity out of the next manager. I think Cooper just didn't work out, did it? They just from the outset. I think I was reading a few articles today, just from the start, the fans, the Forest connection. I just thought inside of me there might be another Martin O'Neill moment. We get an ex-manager from Forest.
No one cared about the Forest connection. We cared that it was crap.
Yeah, I guess so. But but look, as a fan,
play great football, all is forgiven. You turn up and you play that level of shite, you're going to get booed out of the ground.
But look again, right? Like I keep saying this, right? I don't know how many games you guys go to watch, like in the ground, but last season, honestly, like Enzo, there was good parts to the game, but I'm just talking on like there's about 20 fans I talk to that. They sit near me, right? And we always have a conversation at halftime, and they were like, "Oh, this is boring, man. This is like." Oh, it's like watching paint dry, comments like that. All the fans next to me say the same thing, right? I know it might look different on TV, but when I go and watch the games at the KP last season, we were struggling on some of those home games. We had one or two good performances, but I agree with you guys. Enzo did have a strategy, and it would have been good to see that in the Premier League, but unfortunately, we'll never know how he would have performed, right? So
we'll never know, mate. You are right. We'll never know. Imran, thank you so much for clicking in, mate. Much appreciated.
No worries.
I do appreciate you jumping in later. So cheers, mate. See you soon. Thank you so much. Right, up next, it is someone I've been trying to get on the channel for a long time. She might actually be appearing on Fox's Den on Wednesday, but we've got a nice and early. We've got a sneak peek. People know her, of course. Anyway, they know her voice maybe a lot actually from the BBC. Here is Kate. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Very, very good. Thank you. Very, very good. Right. This show. Anil.
No, just saying I got the blue tinted glasses on, mate. Loving it. We're loving life.
Absolutely. Kate, this show is all about the next manager now. We've done all the Cooper talk. This is all about the next manager. Who do you back to come in and save us from relegation?
Well, not to sound like a hippie, according to O'Neill, but I'm going to go for Rude. I've just seen Moyes and Potter are straight out the running now. So Rude just has the same vibe that Enzo did for me, and that tends to be what players buy into. I'm not massively confident he's going to be 100% great, because I don't really think that being a great footballer transpires to meaning you're going to be a great manager. The skill set is totally different. But I think for me, what seems to work with these players is having a younger manager with a big appetite, wanting to do great things, even if that means that we're a stopgap, which I'm fine with. So that would be my preference, but I don't know a lot about what's in the melting pot otherwise. I think Corberan, that would be more of a risk just because he hasn't done it at elite level, really.
I mean, Anil, because I know you've done your bit of research today on Rude. I saw you watching the video as well. I mean, tell us what he does with his fullback, mate. What does he do with his fullback?
He pushes him up. He does the same thing that Enzo does. He either goes into inverted midfield or he goes down the wing. Very good. But Brookline's just here. Kate always goes for the better looking man. That's what they're calling you out for here with Rude. But I mean, listen,
I'm fine with being shallow. It's fine.
I find it interesting as well, actually, that Ragzy said, oh, you know, he didn't think that Rude did that well at Man United. But I think he did do well at Man United. Just because they weren't playing champagne football, he solved their problems. They stopped conceding goals and they started getting results and winning games. Like, admittedly, 2 of them were against us, but he still made us look pretty clueless. So the thing is that, as you say, with a top manager, you don't need to necessarily come in and have some dreamboat situation. You need to get the team working and fix the problem. So I think, if anything, that speaks volumes to him that he could do the job and he understands the Premier League pretty quickly. And I think he did well in Holland. And yeah, as you say, I think he just has that aura about him. Even when you just saw him on the pitch with the turtleneck, I can't get over that. He just looks so good in that turtleneck. I'm so jealous. I could never rock it like that. Yeah, but also he's a winner, isn't he? Like, he won all that stuff at Man United, but then he went to Real Madrid as well. Like, and if you know, with Enzo as well, because Enzo was at Man City and he also played at Juventus and Sevilla, you could tell that he knew the sort of competitive mentality. Whereas, like, if you look at, say, Potter, or maybe even David Moyes to an extent, if you've never been at that elite level where the pressure's on every single day, you don't really get on to get it. So, I mean, I'd quite welcome Van Nistelrooy, to be honest with you. I think he's definitely growing on me. Yeah, go Kate, yeah.
No, I was going to say, Kate, what do you make to this news over in Spain then, that Leicester have apparently asked, well, I don't know if they've asked West Brom for permission, but they've inquired about Corberan, and it seems like they're willing to pay £2.5 million or euros for the release.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. Again, it's a young manager with high ambition and prospects and the type of football that will suit the personnel that we have. I think that's crucial. I mean, you know, the Sam Allardyce type football is all well and good if you've got the players that go with it, but we haven't got the players that go with it. But if we've agreed to speak to Corberan, I'll be surprised if that's today's news, if you know what I mean, because if we've not got a plan in place and we've done this the timing that we've done it, that's a peculiar way to do it. But maybe that's what's happened over the week or the weekend and it's just breaking out now. But I just want somebody to come in and to galvanise that team, because the biggest problem for me is that the belief seems to have petered out quite a bit. And I think that was definitely the case against Chelsea. It was definitely the case against Man United, and that Man United game also was without a compass, wasn't it, to be honest? So I'll be interested to see if that's the truth, but who knows? We just don't know, do we? I'd like to think it's already done and dusted, because I wanted us to have had a plan if we've sort of squandered away 2 weeks. I wanted this 2 weeks international break needed to have been used to bear good fruit. Yeah. So we'll see.
I think that's it, though, isn't it? The timing is the weirdest part about all of this. If
it's weird, no personally, I'd still take it. I mean, sure, in an ideal world, he'd never been appointed in the first place. Sorry, I'm just going to say it. You could see that he wasn't the right appointment, but better, late than never. At least he's done it much sooner than we did it with Brendan Rodgers. So on to the next one. But yeah, I was really hoping that we'd already have the manager in by now. We'd all be talking about him. But and so the fun, I suppose.
Leicester won't do it like that though. Leicester, even if it's ready to go, they will do it when they're good and ready. Because I think there's a certain culture and way of delivering news at Leicester, and it's never the way that you expect it to go and the press want it to go. It's always on their own terms, in their own time. And I think that's a stubbornness, which I think is quite admirable, to be honest. We'll do it when we're goddamn good and ready. We're individuals. We do it our way, and it's been okay in the past. So yeah, the timing's odd for us, but if there's a plan, there's been a bit of talk amongst the main workforce at Leicester, including like Jamie Vardy and some of the sort of more experienced team members, not just on the pitch but off the pitch, then that's also what's been happening as well. That's what I would like to think, to be honest.
I don't know if you saw it, Kate. We were talking about if we all chip in a £5 for Corberan, and Ant said if we pay a £5, Leicester will take £3 of it on an online transaction fee, which I find quite funny. I'm sure you can relate to that. But Kate, cheers.
But then Corberan can't download his mobile pass to get in the ground. So
there you go. There you go.
it's
There
littered with problems there, Locks.
Absolutely. Right, Kate, thanks for clicking in. Hopefully we'll see you in a couple of days as well on Foxton. I'll get in touch with you. Lovely stuff. Cheers, Kate. Thank you so much.
Cheers,
see you soon. Lovely stuff. Right, up next, he has waited patiently, and I'm going to get him in now. It is Foxer. Foxer, mate, how are you doing?
How are you guys doing? Good?
All good, mate. All good. Glad to have you here, mate. You always bring some good, sensible views, and you always banter Ragzy, which is always good as well. So, talk to me, mate. Who do you want in charge at Leicester City?
Yeah, so you guys probably know who I want in charge. I've been saying it for the last 2-3 weeks. I've been saying it like we have to think outside the box, think outside of England, think outside the Premier League, think outside the Championship, because as good as Corberan could be, do you think that he can command respect from the players we have in the dressing room? Because one of the biggest things with Cooper that has been released just now is they didn't respect Cooper. They didn't respect him. They didn't feel galvanized. They didn't have faith in him. And I think Corberan would be very good if we got him in the summer, give him a transfer window, get his type of players in, not players like Jordan Ayew, Cordova-Reid. Now that we're already in this situation, I think we need a manager to come in, quickly get the respect of the players and have them playing good football. I think Corberan would definitely be the type of manager in the summer. But right now, I've been saying it, Mancini. He's Italian. He's a former Fox. He's one thing in his career. He has a good identity, good style of play. He doesn't play like a typical Italian manager where it's like, Allegri. Allegri plays awful football. Mancini is not like that. Mancini actually sets the team up nicely. He's won things. The players will respect him. And you can even say he's had experience in the Premier League. He's won at Man City. He's won at Inter Milan. He everywhere he's went, he's won something, except his recent stint in the Saudi national team. Obviously, what do you really expect from that? Yeah.
Mancini. Now that's the first Mancini. Well, someone mentioned. Who else mentioned it? Imran. Imran mentioned Mancini.
Yeah.
What do you make 2-0? I mean,
I'd love him. Fox is right. I mean, for him, it's more that we just don't think he'd want it because his contract with Saudi Arabia was ridiculous. Like I said, I think they're paying him 20 million. So I think if he takes a club now, he maybe doesn't get the payout. But if he wants the job, of course, you give it to him. He's won the Premier League, right? He's won the Euros.
When we got Ranieri, he wasn't. I don't think Ranieri would have been in the betting odds or anything like that. It was out of the blue, Ranieri, and I feel like this is a moment where we need an out of the blue manager, in my opinion. Like,
what is your beef with Corberan? Just
no, I don't have a beef. I said he's good he's a type of manager that you need to back him properly at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but do you?
It was Costa that said Mancini. We got to give him his dues, by the way.
Yeah, it was Costa. He said.
Does he need backing though, Foxer? Because he's literally done very well. Like his biggest plaudits have come from taking a crap, like an average West Brom team with not much money to the playoffs. Same with Huddersfield to the playoffs. He's done all of his jobs of being with limited resources, other than Olympiacos maybe.
I don't mean necessarily money wise, but I mean sort of like to get his whole ideas across. Like think about it. If we get him in this week, he's only gonna have like half a training session, and then Brentford, then we have West Ham. It's similar to if hiring Maresca in the middle of the season. It's quite difficult to get his ideas.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're seeing it with Amorim at United.
Yeah, they looked pretty bad, Man United, didn't they?
It's because Amorim's the type of manager you get in the summer. He needs a lot of time because it's very tactical in that sense. So that's the only reason why I know. So I say Mancini number one, and then Mancini, sorry. For me, I just want an Italian manager. That's it. A good Italian manager with pedigree that can get the respect of the players.
Ranieri,
especially Jamie Vardy.
Maresca, Italian.
Yeah, title winners. Premier League 2026 is ours, baby. Right. No, you make interesting points though, because Neil, can you imagine us hiring someone like Enzo halfway through a season, but like take out the fact that our players have played that style. bringing in a manager. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
overthinking. But
some managers have got it working though. Like De Zerbi
True.
got it working pretty quickly after coming in the pot. I do appreciate what Foxer is saying, and generally speaking, I would agree. But some people have done it, so you never know.
Yeah, I mean, if he does come, I hope he does get his ideas across.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Cheers, Foxer. Thanks for clicking in, mate. Hopefully join us next Monday and we'll be talking about Mancini, Corberan. Who knows? Who knows? Cheers, Foxer, mate. Much appreciated. Thanks for clicking in. Right. We have 3 more guests. 3 more guests. We're going to get it all done in an hour. Well, maybe just over an hour, but it's been bite-sized today, but it's been good because everyone has got their points across very, very well. Paul says Mancini is very good tactically and he got the better of Southgate in the 2021 European Champions final at Wembley. Right. Reese, you are next, mate, in the order that you clicked. There he is. He's ready. Right. Here he is in his Leicester City Udi. His uncle hasn't been here this week. Boo, Clebo. Reese. What's going on?
All right, boys.
What's going on? Who do you want?
How are we,
you
lads?
had a haircut or something? Or
I was going to say,
yeah, I had a trim, had a beard trim as well. So yeah, we're all good.
See that? Look at this. I know everyone's faces. I noticed straight away. Right. Reese, who do you want in charge of this football club next?
Carlos Corberan. Simple.
I mean, mate, go on.
I think there's a few points for me. The first one that nobody's really mentioned to me is he has a specific style of play, but I've noticed, and twice he did it against us, he has the ability to change it up. So he doesn't just stick to one style of football. It's like you said, he can go in the inverted fullbacks, or we can use the width as well. So I think he has the ability to adapt and change it up, which is what a lot of Leicester fans have been crying out for. It's one style. We don't change it enough. Well, there's a manager that will change it. And like you said, Locks, he's done it with no money. He's taken bang average, awful sides and got them close to promotion. He's a young manager. He's hungry. And I think he's ready for it. I think he's ready for the step up to the Premier League. It is a gamble. It's a big, big gamble. But I think it's a gamble that will pay off. And I think he will comfortably keep us up.
Well, there we go. I mean, Reese, I don't know how long you've been watching for, mate, but it has been, I mean, I don't know about you, mate. Majority of people, it's nearly a clean sweep for Carlos Corberan.
It's like 7-1-1 to Carlos Corberan. He's just smashing all commas.
And I will say, because throughout this show, Anil and Reese, I've been browsing Twitter. Traction is what I will say. A lot of people are now starting to talk about Carlos Corberan. Obviously, that's been helped by the Marsa report. Reese, mate, answer this, because it was one of the issues or the concerns that Foxer brought up. Maybe can he handle the dressing room? It looked like the players maybe didn't respect Steve Cooper. Do you think that Corberan can get their respect?
Yes, I think so. I think he's quite a big personality. And also another thing with him, he's very animated on the touchline. That is something I want. I don't want to see my managers like folding their arms and getting out bleeding notepad. I want to see him running up and down the touchline like an Antonio Conte or a Thomas Tuchel. I want to see some passion on the sideline where he's, clapping his hands, running up and down the touchline. That's what I want to see from my manager. And I'm sorry, I'm not having this Ruud van Nistelrooy talk. I'd back him if he come in. I'd back him. But he's not for me. I don't think he's got the experience. I think he's very, very unproven. And it's all well good. Oh, yeah, he did all right at Man United, but they've got far better players than we have. And I'm very, very wary of his defensive credentials. I'm not too sure. Whereas Carlos Corberan, for me, is a very good defensive coach as attacking coach, where you've seen he's get clean sheet after clean sheet with West Brom as well. So Ruud van Nistelrooy, nah, not for me.
There we go. You are all for King Carlos. I was calling him that in the summer, King Carlos.
2.5 million as well. 2.5 million. It's nothing from what I've read on Twitter.
Mate, I made a video about Carlos on another YouTube channel, and I nearly wasn't allowed to make it because they were so like Cooper, make a video on Cooper. I was like, no, I want to make a video on Corberan. So anyway, at least they've got that to repost, eh? Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Reese, cheers, mate, for clicking in. Much appreciated.
Cheers, lads. See you later.
See ya.
Up next, mate, and I think this is the one I'm most excited for. I want to hear what he's got to say. Now, I already know Carlos Vicens or some other bloody Pep disciple. But let's hear what he's going to say. Well, let's be fair. Let him have his say like everybody else. Manny. Are you going to still say Carlos Vicens even though you know it's not going to happen?
Carlos Vicens is second choice. Okay. There is someone above that.
Oh, I know who you want.
Is.
I know who you want.
You know who I want. I want Big Willie style. That's what I want. There's lots of serious reasons for that, by the way.
Audio up, by the way, Manny.
So for those who haven't been paying attention, we played a certain way under Enzo last year that most of us enjoyed. That everybody loved that. The players since the sacking have reiterated and have said during Steve Cooper's tenure how much they enjoyed that particular way of playing. We saw how effective it was. Our squad was built for that kind of way of playing, and it's sustainable. It's consistent. Whether one manager plays it, another manager plays it, if that manager leaves, it's repeatable because you can get another manager in to play the same way. Once you have that consistency and style of playing that you play throughout the years, and then the managers come and go, players come and go, but the identity and the culture, the two things that we really said we're missing under Cooper are back. And before people say that's only for teams like Man City and Arsenal, case in point, Brighton. What do Brighton do? Managers come and go. Players come and go. They can sell them, but Brighton's remain consistently good because they have a clear idea, a clear plan, and what we're essentially trying to do is copy much of that. So don't worry about experience. Brighton don't think about experience. Nobody had heard of De Serbi here when they signed him. Nobody had heard of Fabian Herzl before they signed him. It's not a problem. So what we did actually do was get somebody trained by Pep. So let's just get another person trained by Pep. And when you look through the candidates of who has been trained by Pep, who might suit us, Caballero stands out. One, he's not just worked under Pep, he's played for Chelsea, where he worked under other great managers, so he's been exposed to multiple styles of play. He obviously did work for Pep, he's worked for Enzo, and he's been a year at Leicester already, so he knows the club, he knows the players. You know, he could just reintroduce what we were doing last year, the players will be super familiar with it, and if ever one day Caballero moves on, then you could find the next one, assuming the system is continually working. So the experience thing is so overrated, and I understand there's been a huge call for Corberan. And I just want to say one thing about Corberan. Corberan is a Marcelo Bielsa disciple, correct? And they all play high intensity, really, really hard work football. And Mark Albrighton recently did a podcast where he said he worked for Corberan for 6 months when he was on loan there. And he said he felt the players were being way overworked, and that's why they'd always fade later on in part seasons. So Mark Albright wasn't superly impressed himself. And that's, I think, Mark Albright's a very bright lad, and I take that kind of point of view seriously. So Willie Caballero, Argentinian, we have Buonanotte. We're hoping to maybe sign Buonanotte at the end of the season. We'd love a few other Argentinian kids. He's fluent in English. He's been living in England for years. All the credentials are there. Can we get him? Yes, we can.
You've been called out by Foxer, who you know from Foster. He says Manny wants a goalkeeping coach as a manager.
He's assistant manager. He's not goalkeeping coach. Come on.
Well, he was a goalkeeper coach until last season.
No, he's been promoted.
Nuno Espirito Santo was a goalkeeper for Porto. There's plenty of goalkeepers that have gone on to have successful careers. Dino Zoff won the World Cup with Italy.
Dino Zoff definitely did. Yeah. Do you guys think Enzo Maresca is a bright, intelligent manager? Do you think he makes shrewd, clever decisions? There you go. If he's good enough for Enzo, he's good enough for me. Argue with that, Luxy.
Mate, me? I ain't arguing. I'm just relaying Fox's message to you. Don't come for me, mate.
Like, I know there's a traditional ideas of, he was a goalkeeper. Goalkeepers don't make good managers, right? That's the kind of point Fox is trying to make. And I get that point of view. And traditionally, it's never really worked because goalkeepers are insane. We know that. They're all nutters. But, go on. I was going to say, but these are times where people are thinking out of the box. Things are working. Bayern Munich appointing Vincent Kompany. Nobody saw that. Look at the Bundesliga table. 7 wins, 2 draws, 0 losses. They were miles off it last year. Thomas Tuchel was their manager, our current England manager, by the way. And Vincent Kompany is overperforming Thomas Tuchel. Nobody would have said that last year. He was a Burnley manager that took them down. You have to think of things in an unusual way, not the conventional ideas of, your usual list of people. It's about culture and identity, and that's what the players are screaming for. And read between the lines, that's kind of what they want. We can replicate that easily, and it will take less time to adjust to something that we did last year, then a new manager to come in, and it takes another 10, 15 games for him to get his ideas across. We don't really have 10, 15 games. That start has already been gone now. Cooper took that. So it's actually faster, easier to re-click into what the players know.
Well, Manny, I mean, you mentioned Company there. I mean, could you not just look at it that with Burnley, with a weak squad, he struggled to play that way in the Premier League, and he's gone there to a super team, and he's winning. Like, would he be able to do it at Leicester playing this way? It's the same story we've spoken about all season under Enzo. Like, oh, if Enzo was still here, could we do it? But we don't know, do we?
We need to. The serious issue with that is we need a couple of players. You know, we're missing Ricky, we're missing a right winger. But January's coming. We have money, but you know, Willy Caballero is a out of the box, but a very, very serious candidate. And you know, Enzo's not daft. There's a reason he's brought him to Chelsea with him. He could have found somebody else if he thought Willy wasn't up to the job. You know, from Leicester to Chelsea, he has that choice. But
do you think they offered either him or what's his name? Is it Danny Walker the opportunity? Because I've got to say that I think one thing that screwed us up, especially in the summer, is that it wasn't just that Enzo left, but he took all his coaches with him. Whereas normally the way this works, as you say, is quite. So take Ruben Amorim. He's left, and who have Sporting appointed? They've appointed like the under-23s assistant manager instead to take over from him. So they're trying to keep the same continuity. You quite often see that at Dortmund, at Ajax, at Benfica. Not so much these days, but you know, you used to get this continuity. So do you think that we offered it to one of either Willy Caballero or Danny Walker, and they said no? Because the thing is, you know, some people don't want to be a number one; they just want to be a number two. I'm just throwing it out there.
I don't think they did.
I don't think they would have done that necessarily. You're right about that number two thing. But if the number two does have that personality where he wants to become a number one, then someone like Willy Caballero will jump at the chance. If he wants to stay happy where he is, playing second fiddle to Enzo, and they're going to have a great journey, fair enough. You get that. But Enzo himself was with Pep. He was winning trebles. He was in Champions League finals. He was in the biggest games in the world. And he still chose to leave that situation and come to us. Arteta chose to leave Pep and go find his own place. So I don't think we should undersell ourselves. We were a championship club, losing a lot of players, and we still managed to attract Enzo. So in the Premier League, with a fighting chance of survival, I don't see why we couldn't get someone like Willy Caballero. Or my second choice is if he doesn't want to come, and Pep's current assistant, and he's 43 years old. He's young, he's prime, he's ready. It's a good time to step out of the Pep shadow. They're on 5 defeats in a row. It's a good time to jump ship. It's a good time to jump ship out of there and make your own way and make your own legacy.
What if he's the reason they've had 5 defeats in a row?
Well, then he would also be the reason why they just won for the last year and a half since Maresca left, because he was Enzo's replacement, I think.
That's true.
My last question for you, Manny. Yeah, my last question for you before we move on to our last guest is, there is traction for Carlos Corberan. Marca in Spain have reported that we are willing to pay the 2.5 million and that we've inquired or whatever. I know you want Willy. I know you would want Carlos Vicente, but let's be honest, mate, they're not going to happen. Let's be honest. So they're not Manny. We know this, right? So out of the ones that are linked, which at the moment, the concrete links are Rude and Corberan. Who are you going for?
You're giving me a choice of those two?
Well, they're the only two in the race at the moment, mate. Potter and Moyes are out.
Out of those two, I'll take Rude. Only because the Corberan thing is, I know what you're saying about the defensive attributes, what he has done with the low budget and stuff, but you know, Ipswich shown on a season with a low budget, you can overperform and still get promoted. And he's been in that kind of mix for several years now. Even Steve Cooper got promoted. You know, they weren't spending fortunes at Forest and he got them promoted. I don't think promotion is necessarily... You know, Daniel Farker might get the teams promoted, but you wouldn't dream of having him as your manager. I don't think that's... You know, you need to overperform in the Championship if you really want a decent Premier League job. And he's not overperforming. He's kind of doing where West Brom should be, which is 4th to 8th range. And that's kind of where they are. If you want to get a job like Leicester, then you have to take them to the top 2. That's it.
It's never a good sign when Ragzy agrees with you, mate.
Yeah, I don't like that. I might change my mind. I might change my mind solely on that basis that I agree with Ragzy.
Yeah. This is going to be the song as well.
The one thing about Rude is you definitely need a character, an individual who is single-minded, driven, and intense. And Rude does have those attributes at least. You know, you remember him falling out with Ronaldo? Have you heard that story? He had a massive fallout with Ronaldo when they were playing because Ronaldo was doing too many tricks and he wasn't getting the ball in quick enough when he was a striker. And he absolutely ripped him to absolute shreds. I think Ronaldo's in tears or something. So Rude is kind of ruthless. He has that ruthless streak. Like, now this is what we have to do to win. And I saw an interview with him. I think he did one with Gary Neville about maybe a year ago. It's probably worth watching right now. And he does have that hunger and desire to want to get as high as he can. The only downside with Rude is if he does do well, he'll jump ship at the first sign of, there's a big club in it, particularly if it's the Man United job. But
that'll happen to anybody, though, surely.
But we'll have enjoyed a few years of success if that does happen, though, right? So, out of the two, I'd take Rude.
There's Thomas reckons there's that many sheep that have called that if you were on first, we'd have had 8 Willie votes. People just love Willie in here, I think, man. Manny definitely loves Willie. Right. Manny, mate, thanks for clicking in. Much appreciated. We'll see you very soon, mate. Have you seen the coach's, what is it, Anil? The coach's voice? Is that what it is? Yeah. Have you seen the coach's voice video for Rude, Manny?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Oh, you'd enjoy it. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Have a little
search
listen.
YouTube, Rude Van Nistelrooy, coach's voice.
I'll give that a listen. Sounds good.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, Manny, mate. Much appreciated. Last caller of the night is this man, Ant. You've waited very long, mate. Obviously, we kind of have an idea on who you want because you're on the channel quite a bit. But talk to me, mate. Now, who do you want?
Well, my first choice was Graham Potter, but that looks like that's gone now. And as Neil says, you've been in 3 times, you've got rejected 3 times. He's going to put a restraining order on you at some point. But out of the realistic options for me, I want Corberan over Rude, but I'll be happy with either of them. I think the thing I worry about with Rude, you know what Gerrard did at Rangers, where you get like a really good player who's done fantastically well at one of the biggest clubs in a non-top 5 league, and everyone was talking about Gerrard's Rangers as if they were some defensive, really strong defensive team because they went unbeaten for the season. He went away from obviously the Scottish League, which I'd say is about the equivalent of the Dutch League, probably Dutch League slightly better, but there's not a huge amount in it, and got massively found out. So I do worry about that, but I think Carlos Corberan at West Brom and the fact they're so financially restricted, and also if you look at his time at Huddersfield, I think that's a lot more comparable in terms of where we are as a club compared to where PSV is in Holland, where they're the 2nd or 3rd biggest club in Holland.
Well, Anil, I want to pass this to you again on Corberan because there is another one. Corberan has won this stream, this show.
Change the name of the stream to King Carlos. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
Well, Anil, Carlos has a West Brom, right, this season. They have the 3rd lowest amount of goals conceded, but they aren't even in the top 10 for goals scored. Is that what we need? A better defense? Or do you think fans might turn quickly on him because we're not scoring enough goals?
Well, I've said to you that I think right now we have to address the amount of goals that are going in the other side. I think that's the biggest thing we've got to fix first. We've got to get some clean sheets first. We can worry about scoring goals after that. If we never fix the defensive side, I don't think we've got any chance whatsoever. Look, I wanted him during the summer. I thought he's a very interesting manager. I think he's got a lot of talent, and I think he deserves the chance to have, a top team. You'll never know until he gets that team, to be honest with you. It could easily go wrong. But I think there's a lot to like about him. But I think that's a fair concern. Is he going to play more of a defensive style? But you've got to remember, when your striker up front is Josh Maja, I mean, what can you really do? When's the last time he was given a team that had actual good, potent attack? That's what I've got to say of him. So it's unproven. And I think he has tried to do it in the past, where he's actually got some of these players to score goals. It's one of those things. So I'd back him, but I am surprised that the chat has been so in favour of him. And I just wonder if they're taking too much into this Radio Leicester saying that, Moyes and, Potter aren't going to come in. Because, I mean, where have we heard this before? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if one of those still ends up rocking up here in the time for Brentford.
Yeah, I mean, it's multiple sources, I think, that have reported it, but you never know. Like you said, Fabrizio, whose word we all take as gospel, got it wrong last summer. Sticking on that point, Nuwan, about the goals, I've just done some maths. I might be wrong, but it's here and around it. 14th in the Championship for goals scored. 14th.
Yeah, this season's probably their worst performance, like worst season under Carlos Corberan, isn't it? And they're still fit.
And they had started well. They were above they betted Enzo's start to the season early on.
Yeah, and if you look at a lot of what West Brom fans are saying, though, they're not blaming Corberan, they're blaming a lot of individual errors. So it's one of those, whichever of the two, because I'm at the point now, I think it will either be Carlos Corberan or Ruud van Nistelrooy. Whoever you take, there's an element of risk.
How much money do you think that West Brom spent this summer?
I'd guess like a couple million.
Yeah, 4 million. One was just like getting a loan signing in. So one signing for 3.5 million, Mikey Johnston. The other were 2 for 600k. The rest are free transfers. It's like the guy makes miracles happen on fumes. Give him an actual budget and a team. I mean, look, he might still mark up, but that is definitely the strong thing. That, like, if you're talking about someone who can do a lot with not much, he's your man. And right now, we don't have that much.
Yeah. Anything else to say on that, mate? I mean, you'd be happy with Ruud, though, right? You'd take him.
I'd 100% take him, but I've seen a lot of the stuff of Ruud would be fantastic for Cannon and like the young strikers. It's like, how many times have we heard of like old players just because they were fantastic aren't going to like make like that position fantastic? We saw it with Lampard, not a good coach. Obviously, we saw that with Gerrard, not a good coach. Steve Bruce was probably one of the best defenders that this country's ever produced, or maybe not that far, but he was a very good defender, and he's one of the worst managers I think the Premier League's had. So it's like, I think we need to get away.
Cooper would like a word there, Ant.
There's
a reason serious shade on Steve Cooper there for West Premier. He only won in 4 Premier League grounds in his entire career. Oh my god!
Yeah, 2 of them were Chelsea.
Yeah, no, this is a funny comment though. His budget, Carlos's budget at Leicester would probably be like over the whole value of West Brom, which is quite funny. I mean, it's interesting though, Ant. Again, we've just spoken about the money that he gets at West Brom. It's limited. It would be interesting to see. There are managers in football who work on shoestring budgets a lot of the time, and you think, wow, what could they do on a bigger budget?
Sometimes it suits managers, you know, like Neil Warnock, where he's got his back against the wall sort of thing, and he's always like, particularly when he's in the Premier League, he's never got the biggest squad. He's always sort of got that underdog and like sort of us against the world kind of thing. So I do wonder if he's got a bit of a bigger budget. Does that mean there's less of a hiding place? Probably. But it's one that we're not like what the potential there is what excites me, not what I think we've seen so far. Whereas with Steve Cooper, there was no potential. Like he's won 12 out of 60 Premier League games or something like that, or it might be even more than that. So
yeah, I hear you, mate. Thanks for clicking in, Ant. Much appreciated. We'll see you very soon on the channel, I'm sure, mate. Next time we talk, we might have a manager. Try and get some more juicy info because you're always full of it, mate. Go on. Cheers, Ant, mate. Thank you so much. Right, we actually have squeezed one last guest in there.
Yeah, go on.
Nobody else call in. The phone lines are now closed, like they say on bloody TV. Right, the last caller. I'm waiting for him to turn his camera on because he did say he's got one. Tyler says, "Can we please just let Cannon finish his season? Kid deserves continuity, not the responsibility to be a firefighter." And then Daniel there, he said, "You can take Dice if you want. He works on a budget." I'm all good. Yes, Daz, your camera's not on, mate, but we can get you in. How are you doing, mate? He's gone. He's gone. Oh, we just finally got him on. I'll give you 30 seconds to join, Daz. Otherwise, we're going to end. Go on, Locks. Make my day. I'm going to show it. Anil, I've got a photo to show at the very end, mate, that Costa has kindly sent me. I just saw a tweet from a West Brom fan saying he'd rather have Cooper than Carlos Corberan. Is that copium? I think that's copium.
He's back.
He's back.
Feels that way. Yeah.
Daz, how are you doing, mate?
Mate, I've had an absolute mare. I've just had to drop my daughter off, and I thought, I'll quickly come on if I can. So, yeah, not bad, lads.
Before you start, I think I know what you're going to say. So tell us, who is the man?
For me, it's my heart wants it to be Carlos Corberan. That's my heart. I've got to be honest. But I don't know, boys. I just feel that I think the board should have definitely had someone in line, or at least something in place for making the drastic decision. But more to the point of what I wanted to get across really was your guys' opinion and maybe everybody else's opinion on the players. You know, we all have a joke and a laugh about the fact that, you know, I miss you, Enzo, and all that sort of thing. That was, you know, hilarious to watch as an outsider. But for someone who's setting an example and for the club, do you think that that's an acceptable thing to do, considering, you know, Top's just sacked a manager, and next thing you know, the players are out having a party saying we missed the old manager? What's the new manager going to think to players like that? You know, we talk about players acting out and stuff, and I know hold yourself to some form of. What do you think?
Daz, mate, the connection's horrific, but we did just about get you caught, mate. So I'm just because it's lagging everywhere. I'm gonna drop you out, mate, but stay here because you can hear the answer.
Yeah.
So Anil, I tried to be the sensible one last night on stream and say no, what they did was wrong. And it was bad it was bad press, right? I think with the sacking of Cooper, most Leicester fans were on board with it. However, that has tainted it a little bit with that bad press. I don't know about you. Had a slightly different opinion to it, though.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I saw someone say that like that sort of player power is how you end up like Manchester United, where you get like a rebellious dressing room and you end up in that sort of shit show for a while. But the thing is that like, you know, this team showed that they can perform last season. And I guess we've brought someone in who didn't fit their culture. They probably felt misunderstood. Look, they were super unprofessional. And like I say, they probably all should accept that they're going to get fined 1 week's wages or whatever like that, but take it on the chin. But as I've said, and maybe I look at it a bit differently, I think that if you see that camaraderie and team chemistry, that's still an extremely important thing to have, especially in an elite sports team. So that the fact that we see it, maybe they are a bit of a crazy bunch, maybe they are a bit wacky, but there's something about them, and I think it's really important they get someone that can connect with them. I don't think they'll ever do it. It's one of those interesting things, like, would you get some of the senior leadership team to either chime in or see what do you think of X? Maybe you think that's not the right way to do it in football, but I think this team has proven if they find someone that they can, you know, vibe with, it's going to go well. And if they get someone who they're not going to vibe with, it's going to go very wrong. And look, again, we said it in the summer that it just felt a bit weird, even like, yeah, going from Enzo Maresca to Steve Cooper, just in so many ways it felt wrong. But you've just got to make sure that whoever we go to next is still more of the Enzo vibe than it is the Cooper one, which is why I think a lot of people are a bit scared about David Moyes if he was to come in. We should say, I don't know. I can't really say about Corberan. That's an interesting one. I'm not sure where he falls in that camp. You'd say more Enzo, but is he? Don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, I'd recommend again people go and listen to the interview on Tippy Tappy Football with Sam Allardyce that Mark Albrighton did. He didn't speak too highly of Carlos Corberan, actually. He didn't speak too highly of him, as far as I'm aware. So I will let Daz, he's not coming back on because the connection is still bad, I can see, but he did leave a comment and said, love the team being good together, but still keep it under wraps. Daz, mate, next Monday, try and get a better connection and come on, mate, and we'll have a bigger chat. I appreciate you clicking in there, mate. I do. So thanks for that. Okay, right. Anil, the winner by a country mile, and credit to Costa for the graphic. It is King Carlos. Carlos Corberan by a country mile has won this live call-in show. The viewers have spoken. I'm not lying, Neil. I think like the viewers probably haven't won actually, because I don't think many viewers did say Carlos. It's the callers that have won. The callers have won with Corberan. What do you make? I'm surprised. Did you keep track of the numbers? I don't know if you.
Yeah,
did.
they got like 8 by the end. That's insane. I didn't even think one person would come up with him. So I was surprised even Ross, I was surprised that he went for him. I thought of all of them, that's one of the least ones I would have thought he'd have gone for. But boom, he done it.
Yeah, so there we go. One more time. According to the blue tinted glasses callers, Carlos Corberan is the favourite to become the next Leicester manager. And according to the Twitter at the moment, it's spreading like wildfire. He is too. Anil, it's been a long one again, mate, but appreciate obviously your time and everybody else's time.
Let
What you
me
gotta
just
say,
jump on a
mate?
few comments quickly, just because I think we owe it to the people that have been around. So Tyler's gone, can I get a 10-second acknowledgement for an Urs Fischer shout? He was the guy that was in charge of Union Berlin, took them up from the second Bundesliga, got them into the Champions League. Then they had a bit of a bad scene, they got sacked. It sounds impressive, but Tyler, if you watch them play, man, they were dire. They just parked the bus and hit it on the counter attack. If you really want to see that football, all power to you. But if you look at how they played, they were awful, man. They were awful. That's just my opinion.
Look at you, some German football knowledge, mate. Eh?
Oh, yeah, wunderbar.
Yeah. You're always pulling out surprises for me, mate. Sean agrees, pure copium with the West Brom fans, saying that they'd rather Cooper. And the final comment of the day goes to, what is the difference between Corberan and Russell Martin if he is fired by Southampton?
Nah,
Russell
come on.
Martin at
Russell Martin
Leicester?
plays like really ridiculous sideways and back football and passing out the back on the suicide. I think Corberan's way more pragmatic. Yeah, I do think that people have to be a bit careful what they wish for, because if they think Carlos Corberan's coming in and he's going to be like maximum attacking football, I think they're going to get a bit of a rude awakening. But, you know, I think the potential is he could go that way over time and he would fix the defense. So we'll see. I just want to ask you, Locks, then. So obviously we've now listened to all of our callers. We've listened to the chat. Has your mind been swayed, or are you still backing your same man?
My man was rude. My man was
Really?
rude.
Yeah.
But I am swaying to King Carlos. I'm swaying. Mate, King Carlos was my number one in the summer. Number one. And I did have my doubts this week or the last couple of days, thinking, is he the right man? A few people brought these concerns. Is he the right man halfway through a season? That I'm still unsure on. But I know. He hasn't lost many of them, though, has he? They were quite. I swear he got 4 0-0 draws in a row or something crazy like that.
Can you imagine what the King Power would be like if that happened?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I don't know. What about you? I'm torn between Rude and Corberan. What about? And they are the last two in the race. But yeah, what about
For me,
you?
I'll keep saying it. Just the one I don't want to see is David Moyes. I know that he probably would keep us up, but that football is really painful to watch because he will park the bus against like Crystal Palace. Do you know what I mean? He won't even have a go. And it just, if you've got a match, do you know what? This maybe it's just me, but even if you lose, if you feel that it was at least a plan or some intent to get something out of the game, you can take it. It's just like when you have these managers that take the joy out of football, because it's a hobby at the end of the day. It's like, why am I spending my time or paying my money to go and watch someone, you know, make it look like paint's drying on the wall? So as long as it isn't someone like that, honestly, I think all the other ones, they're much of a muchness. You wouldn't know until they come in. I'll get behind anyone that comes in. There's no one that really stands out to me as being like, oh my God, I could no way have X. Not really. The funny enough is the one that really I was like, oh, please don't appoint him was Steve Cooper. And we went from, and I tried to get behind him. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go. That would be the one, because he's literally shown he had an elite level of talent, Gareth Southgate, and he couldn't construct an attacking game plan to save his life. That's what scares me about that Lee Carsley stuff as well, to be honest. Yeah,
I agree. Caller of the day, you know who I'm going to give it to, mate, because he's called in every single week. Well, a few people have called in every week, and he's on the show. He's on the channel a lot, and he loves Willie. It is Manny. Manny is my caller of the day. He loves Willie. What can you say? Who's your caller of the day, mate?
I'm going to go Ross, because he was the trendsetter. I didn't think he would go Corberan. He did, and everyone backed him. So fair play. I think it's got.
And everyone followed him. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
In the words of Ragzy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pause on the Manny loves Willie. There we go. Thank you to everyone who's called in. Big shout out to each and every one of you. Thank you to the chat. Loads of comments. Appreciate you. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit subscribe. And we will be back probably tomorrow with something. There might be a recorded video.
Yeah, I can't see us not being on tomorrow. I can't see it.
And if you haven't seen it already, obviously there is a video that came out today with Rob Tanner from The Athletic. So feel free to go and check that out if you've got a bit of spare time between now and bedtime. Thank you all. Thank you, Anil. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye. King Carlos.